there are a couple topics that are coming up that are really in the news right now that I know we're gonna talk about probably next week. One is what's going on the southern border with Haitians, and I just think it's really worth having a conversation about. And the other one is this conversation that is taking place in the media today about missing persons, and both reporting and finding people who are missing, and the degree to which race is involved, right? So I've been reading about this white women's syndrome, that when white women are missing or in some way are in danger, the media kind of really takes hold of that and publicizes it far and wide. But when black and brown women or people are in the same position, we don't really see that. And I want to talk about the degree to which that is and is not true, because it's the kind of thing that that people get carried away with, assuming it's true, and it may or may not be. But it's the kind of thing you really have to look at. Can't make the assumption, because that's not very thoughtful. So anyway, we'll explore that a little bit. Next slide. I have some Afghan colleagues who are out of Afghanistan, if you remember from the first or second day of class, and are now and really need to work on their English. So if anyone has any interest in helping tutor, you don't have to have any experience in tutor. Just being a conversation partner, like learning about Afghanistan, learning about Afghans. Talk to me after class, okay? It's a really cool, and it's all online. So maybe you know somebody who's just would really enjoy having conversations. Maybe one of your grandparents or something, I don't know. Anybody could do it. You just need people who would be really interested in learning and experiencing and sharing. So it'd probably be better if you had someone in your life who was not you, because here we're really preoccupied with things. Next one, World in Conversation. So I sent an email out to most of you. The rest of you will get the email in the morning. There are 6 blocks and there are 6 dialogues you got to do. There are far too many open seats in the registration site right now, including groups that are happening right after class. We're putting up enough seats for the class. So your job is to go on the registration system as soon as it comes out and pick the group that's nearest to the time that you go on. Like, don't pick one that's far away. Because, like, for example, if we don't fill these seats tonight, that'll be like 18 seats that go missing. We can't recoup those. That means 18 people won't be in a dialogue. And that means 18 people won't get their credits for World in Conversation. So you want to go on and do the soonest seat. Like, don't wait and pick one that's days ahead, because then you kind of screw things up for everybody else. Okay? So there are far too many open seats, y'all. For those of you who are watching from home, you get that. So get on and take care of that, because if you don't get those points, you won't get an A. That's for sure. So, all right. Is Lily? Oh, damn. Hang on one second. All right, we'll do the backpack in a hot minute. You can pass by that. Okay, so we'll do the top hat in a few minutes, man. We're not ready for it yet. Okay, so today's class, I'm just calling it the Arabs, because why not? The Arabs, you know what I mean? The Arabs. So it's a cool name. Is that a cool name, bro? The Arabs, right? Like, hey, the Arabs. Like, what do you know about the Arabs? Bro, what do you know about Arabs? Anything? Couple things, probably? All right. You know how to spell it, right? You know what I mean? So, not all, most Arabs speak Arabic, not all, though. So it just seems like there's a lot to talk about with regard to Arab culture. And, Arabs, people, 20 or 22 countries that are identified as part of the Arab global community. And it seems to me that, first off, Arab culture to me is just so really fascinating, man. So I've been really interested in Arab culture. My mentor, when I was in graduate school, was a scholar from the Middle East, and he was from Lebanon. And so I, from a very young age, got really fascinated by the Middle East. And although I turned my attention to Latin America because I was speaking Spanish and was really fascinated by the whole world, but Latin America is what grabbed my attention. But I've always been really fascinated by the Middle East. And it was, I guess about 10 years ago is when I did that, it was about 13 years ago when I really in class started talking about the Middle East a lot. And then 10 years ago when I did that TED Talk that really blew up in the Middle East. And then that kind of took a lot of my attention into the Middle East. And so, I've traveled back and forth, innumerable times, and have had the opportunity to be inside of Arab cultures in lots of different ways, in really fascinating ways, and to meet lots of really, really interesting people. And so, for me, I don't want to talk about the politics of anything. I want to talk about the culture, because the more I dug in, and my wife and I dug in, and my wife in particular, who got really, really involved in conversations and dialogues with people from the Middle East, the more that we dug into culture and tradition and just social ways and norms and mores, we were utterly fascinated by it, by quite a number of things, and how it's really, for me, it's really a shame that it's just like the United States, right? There's so many really awesome things about the U.S., and sometimes you have to talk to foreigners who come here and live, people who aren't from the U.S., and have them teach you a little bit about American culture to really see the uniqueness and how fascinating and awesome it is. Well, that's the same with cultures in large part all over the world, but in particular in the Middle East. And because of the nature of political issues and political strife and things that have just happened, especially since 9/11, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, countries and people of the Middle East and Muslims in general have had just like a really kind of a negative, like a reckoning, like a really negative perception by people who really have absolutely zero understanding of what the culture is about and what it is. So what I want to do today was just have a conversation, because today is Saudi National Day, and I was talking to a couple. All right, Saudi National Day. And so it just like kicked in my mind, like, hey, let's just do it today. Like, why not, right? Let's just talk about Arab cultures. All right. So we're gonna have there are a few people who are gonna come up. So why don't you come up and wait, what is it?
It's Marwa.
Marwa. All right. Why don't you come? Yeah, we need 3 actually. You can sit. Why don't you sit on the table, man? All 3. Is that good?
Yeah. Thank you.
You can sit. Can you sit on the table? Do you want to sit in a chair? Or can you sit on the table?
I'll sit on the chair. You can sit on the table.
No, you gotta either all 3 be in a chair or all 3 on the table.
I don't mind.
Dude, all right, you're on the table, man. The beauty, the cool thing about being on the table is you're more at my level, so it just seems. Hey, so just tell us your name and where you're from. Marwa, we'll start with you.
Okay, so is it on?
Yeah, I think it's on.
Okay, hello. So my name is Marwa, and I am a second semester junior. I'm from the UAE. United Arab Emirates, and I'm majoring in econ and math.
So the chances are really good that you're either from Abu Dhabi or Dubai.
I'm from Abu Dhabi,
Uh-huh.
specifically the Western region.
They're just the two major cities in Emirati cities. Saud.
Hello, everybody. My name is Saud Al-Mughaitib. I'm from Saudi Arabia, and I'm a junior studying oil and petroleum engineering.
Of course. What else would it be, right? All right. Dude, so Saud, so House of Saud. Can you explain House of Saud and like who's
So basically, House of Saud is the ruling royal family in Saudi Arabia that has been ruling the country for more than 300 years.
Uh-huh. And your first name is Saud.
My name is Saud.
Is that common or is that
It's kind of
hold the mic close.
It's kind of a common name, yes, but not as common as like Muhammad or Ahmed or Faisal, for example.
Yeah, I got you.
Those are like pretty like common names.
Dude, I mean, like, if you meet someone who's Arab, a guy, and you don't know his name, just call him Muhammad. You got a 25% chance of getting it right. And speaking of that, Muhammad.
I'm Mohammed Badghesh. I'm a junior studying petroleum engineering. I'm from Dhahran, Saudi Arabia.
Where are you from?
Dhahran, Saudi Arabia.
Uh-huh. And so you're studying petroleum also?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, man. So here's a question, if you could. What do you guys do? What do you do for fun? Because you can't drink, right? I mean, at the international. Can you? Even at international hotels in Saudi, can you drink? Do they have alcohol?
Well,
No.
Well, hold the mic.
no, I don't think so, but
I'm
We
not
do a lot of
equating.
things
Not
for
saying you
fun.
have to drink to have fun, but at Penn State you do.
I mean, I know it is a pretty American thing to drink to have fun. Well, whether it's the Super Bowl, it's just a Sunday night or whatever. But we play something called balot in Saudi Arabia, which I'm really interested in. It's like, yeah, boys, it's like an Arabian card game where like 4 people play, and like it's like in a team of 2, and then the first team to get to 152 points wins, and it gets pretty competitive.
Marwa,
It really does.
do Emiratis play that?
Maybe, I'm not aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not the best player at anything, so that's why I don't participate in a lot of stuff.
Okay.
But going back to the question, I think it's pretty much similar to everyone else, just without the drinking part. Yeah, because
Minus all the sin.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah,
Like what? Give us
that
what?
too.
Like what do you do? What do y'all do? Because like
So here or back
Yeah,
home?
go ahead.
here or back home, I mean it's kind of similar. So I just hang out with my friends for the most part,
Yeah.
and
Where do you go when you go out? And here,
Well,
wait,
we
hang on. So
Okay.
before we go, I wanna set this up, right?
all right.
So look, what I want to do is for people. Hang on, I'll get out of the way. So for people who just have no idea of no, you can focus on that. Who have no idea about like Arab cultures, right? Just like walking, because you're just like these cities in the middle of the desert. Like what do y'all do out there, man? Like, so you hang out with your friends. Where do you hang out?
So we hang out at home. We go like in cars, Starbucks.
Well, that's fine.
Starbucks,
That's about it.
malls.
Yeah, malls. Yeah, and back home it's a lot of malls because like our malls are a lot better, first of all, and we have everything there. So like the cinema, the restaurants, everything is in the mall.
Muhammad, how about you, man? Help us
Basically-
see like what.
Yeah, basically the same thing. So either cafe hopping or hanging out with friends in their house.
What's cafe hopping?
Going from cafe to cafe, like
It's like bar hopping.
Like bar hopping?
yeah,
But
but
like,
same
in
thing.
a more
but-
Muslim way.
So it's bar hopping without the alcohol?
Yeah,
minus
so-
all the alcohol and the girls.
Without the alcohol or mixing sexes?
No, I mean you can mix them, but like you can't.
Wait, no, hang on. Hold the mic.
Like you don't go out of your way to just go approach a woman and be like, hey, like.
Okay, hang on. We're
That's
going to
not a
get to that in a second. We're going to get to the dating scene in a second.
But
So-
I do have an answer for your question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think I can speak for most Khaliji countries when I say that
Hold the mic.
Khaliji countries, including Saudi Arabia and UAE, are pretty social countries. Like people are very social. We like to hang around at night. Like we have this thing called khema or milhag, which is some sort of like a big room that every house has, or like most houses have, where people basically just go there, they hang out. Cooking is really a love language in our country. We like to get together. We cook some lamb.
So wait, so is that like the Diwania?
Huh?
The Diwania?
Diwania, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
I couldn't have said
Can you
it better.
explain that more? Because this is really key. Because every house has a Diwania.
Yeah, a Diwania is basically where Most of the guys are like the men hold their like they sit there, they socialize, they play card games. A lot of them we sometimes play FIFA or 2K. Like it is a common thing back home. We sit there, we socialize, we talk about life and we talk about work. And again, we really like to cook and stay up all night, and just listen to quality music like Muhammad Abdu and like a lot of really good artists out that we have in the Middle East. So yeah, we like to just hang out together. You know what I mean?
So Marwa,
Yeah.
do you want? So can you say more about the Diwania? Because this is actually a really big thing. So
Yeah, so like usually the guys will have their own, and then the girls will just hang out like, inside the house. We do pretty much similar things, except we, sit around, sometimes talk about stuff and people, and then we cook too. And we play games, including Kiram.
So yeah. So the idea is that. So here, let me just say what I heard you say, what I heard the two of you say. When what I've experienced, Arab culture is a really, really social culture.
Yes.
Yes.
People are talking all the time.
Constantly.
Interacting. So that means you have to have a room in the house where it's like in the US, a lot of us have a living room, but Americans will often have a living room that nobody goes into.
Yes.
Right? It's like, how many of you in your houses, you have a living room that actually no one ever really uses, it just sits there? So Arab homes have a diwania that is used every single day. I mean, sometimes, right? For some families, right? It's just like, that's where you go and you gather for hours and hours on end talking.
That's where we hang out. But I mean, it's not like we sit there all weekend long. Like he said, we do a lot of coffee shop hopping and stuff. We go out to eat, restaurants, watch a movie with some friends, grab some coffee, sit down. We play belot in coffee sometimes, which gets pretty hectic because it is. Like I said, it's like a pretty competitive game. So there's a lot of times and instances where people shout, they get angry. I know my boys right there. They get really angry and rowdy when they play. So they already know what I'm talking about.
So what about can we go with the like here, alcohol is a lubricant for engagement, right? You guys experience that here? Have you been to American parties here?
Yes, we've been to American parties.
So you see the alcohol is like everywhere.
We don't necessarily participate in any sins, as we might like to call it, but yeah.
Wait, necessarily participate? Is that because the cameras are on?
No, that's honest to God, truth.
So you mean then you don't participate?
I don't participate in drinking and all the things that you're not supposed to be doing.
So how is it then? What do you notice as the difference between, say, like a party here, where people are drinking, and Muhammad, I'm going to direct this at you. So people are drinking, and the alcohol is really lubricating everything, to gatherings in your world where people are not drinking and they're just as animated. What do you see? What's the difference?
I feel like the difference is when it comes to alcohol, usually bad emotions come out with it. So most of the conversations that are being discussed are about, someone's sad, so when they drink alcohol, they start talking about their sadness or their emotions. But in Arab culture, it's not necessarily what happens. Maybe with a cup of coffee or tea, people discuss future plans or emotions or what have you. It can be just as animated. It's just more, you just don't have that I don't know, the in between or something of the alcohol.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how it's gonna be a weird analogy, but do you know how alcohol is a big thing right here? Coffee is a really big thing back home. And so whenever anything happens, when people are sad, they drink coffee in funerals. When people are happy, they drink coffee. When people wake up in the morning, they drink coffee. So some people even wake up in the morning, drink coffee, go to class, get back and go to Starbucks to get another coffee. And so a lot of people already be on that, the caffeine rush. You know what I mean? So I feel like they, they're a bit similar, give or take the hallucinating part. But
yeah, okay, I got you. Yep. Hey, so can I show the class a couple photos?
Yeah.
Can you go to the next? So this is in Dubai,
Yep.
right? As you know, right? And this is also the Dubai Mall. I was there. So my first trip to Dubai, I was there for 48 hours. I flew in because I was working on a proposal with my partner, We sat in a hotel room for 48 hours, and we cranked out this 80-page proposal. And then I left. He went to a cricket game, and I went to the mall. I never go to the mall. I haven't been to a mall in the United States in like 30 years. But I went to that mall because I'm like, I had to see this. You know what I mean? So anyway, go.
When was that? When did you visit?
This was in 2011.
Oh, it changed.
2012. 2012.
Yeah.
So here, go to the next one. There is an ice skating rink. And then here, this is in, you'll recognize that mall. So that's
the
this
Dubai
is in
Mall.
Riyadh. So, so let me go in a, so one of the reasons for the mall though, like in the summertime, it's really, really, really hot.
Even in the winter sometimes.
Even in the winter.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty hot.
Yeah, like one time I was in Kuwait in the summertime and it was like 200 degrees Fahrenheit, I swear. You know what I mean? And the only place you could go is in air conditioning, and one place you go is the mall. It's like a hangout spot, right? Because you got to be inside. So is that what happens?
Yeah, and it's pretty convenient because it has everything. So like you want to do grocery, you want to shop, you want to go to the barber shop, everything is there.
So like the one in Dubai has 1,200
Yeah.
stores,
Yeah,
right?
it's the biggest mall in the world.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, so let me ask another. I'm going to go in a different direction. How common is? Tell us about the dating scene. The dating scene, like how?
So people usually think of Arab culture, they associate arranged marriages with it, but that's not necessarily what happens. So the traditional way is you go to your mom, and be like, yeah, mom, I'm ready. I want to get married. And she looks for a girl for you, and then you go out on a date. You see her. If you guys like each other, you get married.
Wait, hang on, back up. Where did she look for a girl? Is she like walking down the street and like, yo, sweetheart, I got the guy for you, man.
Usually it's like her friend's daughter or like a cousin.
Like a
or
distant cousin or something?
Yeah, something like that. So she usually knows the parent of the daughter.
So why your mom? Is your dad not involved in that? Or?
Well, he is involved, but he can't like actually go and like look for the girl like that.
Oh, right. So the dad can't really do that.
Because remember, like,
Because that,
Yeah.
okay.
And the mother engage with the woman in the community, so they're more aware.
So are your moms, are they already looking for,
no, not my mom.
is your mom, are they like looking for somebody? Like how's it work?
Not looking, but she has someone in mind right now. But when I come up to her and be like, yeah, I'm ready. I have a job. I'm stable. I want to get married. She'll suggest some names for me.
So do you know who she has in mind?
Probably my cousin, but no.
Yeah. By the way.
Okay, okay. Something
No.
needs to be cleared up here.
No, but listen. When we say cousins, like what we're talking, everybody's related, man. You know, so when you like have really complex families, you're going back to sex complex families. Like everybody's a cousin. The three of you have hundreds and thousands of cousins, right? Like I don't. I mean, I do, but I have no idea who they are. But you know, you guys do. So when you're saying cousins, it's like go ahead.
So in the U.S., it's frowned upon to marry your cousin. In Alabama, these places in the South. But
dude, and no, hang on. You'd marry your sister or your brother in some places.
See, that's gay.
No, actually, listen. No, the truth is, for most of human history, most human beings have married cousins. Like for most of human history, that's the common thing,
Yeah.
right? Because you're operating in a very small social network, and you want to marry people into your family who you know. And you're not marrying the person, you're marrying the families, right? That's the key, right? You're not marrying an individual. Like your mom is picking out a family to marry.
exactly.
Into. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's not just the girl; it's her parents, her family.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in the U.S. it's not okay, but for us it's okay. But everyone knows that because of genetics, your kids are gonna not have the best genetics. So no one does it now.
No, yeah, it's like especially like first cousins, right?
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
as common as people think, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like people go out of their way to go marry their cousins. They're like, yes, I want her, she's mine. No, that's not how it works.
Okay, so Marwa, what do girls do back in Abu Dhabi who are in college back there? Because like here, you're in college here, right? So you could go on a date in the way that Americans do, and nobody would know, right? I mean, you could do that. But what do they do back there when they want to? See like when your friends see a boy or a young man who they like, and they want to talk to him. Like, what happens? What's like? And let me just say this, because I've sat many times in cafes, and I watched two people on a date sitting at different parts of the cafe, just texting one another, right? And I'm like, these two, they're on a date, man. They're like talking to each other, and they're very clearly in a clandestine relationship, but they're at two different sides of the cafe. And I'm like, oh, this is really awesome, man. And I want to tell them like, hey, but anyway, go ahead. Tell me what happens.
So like, I would say it varies. You can find all types of dating scenes, but from what I know, like me personally and my friends, I mean, we don't do anything. We just wait, and I think it's the guy that should go look for us.
I mean, that's what ends up happening. Like,
It's the guy,
it's the guy who would go there.
or
you
the
know.
guy's mother.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, the money is not coming from the mother; it's coming from his pocket. He has to work to go and and establish a family. Well, at least that's how it is back home. It's not
Wait,
here.
in other words, so there's not a really big dating scene. Like here at Penn State, there's a huge dating hookup scene. That's not
Yeah,
happening.
that's not a thing. That's actually really against everything that the religion goes and stands for. To be honest, like no,
So the hookup scene is not happening at all.
it just
Go ahead, Marwan.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry. So yeah, as I've said, like, my surroundings, I haven't really seen any incidents where there's any dating or hookup scenes. But as I've said, it's very complex. Everyone there, everyone there is living their own kind of life. Everyone,
Yeah.
so you can't really generalize because, especially with how everything now is westernized, a lot of people are normalizing that.
So here, let me help what I see a little bit. In what I see in the U.S. and like here at Penn State and so on, like so much is sexualized at a really young age, right? Like it's just sexual. Everything is sexualized. People are talking about
even commercials.
commercials,
You have to have
everything.
a woman that's like showing her breasts and
Dude,
whatever. It's weird.
commercials, the way people approach one another, the way people dancing with one. There's no clubbing's not
No.
It's not a thing. No.
clubbing's not a thing there, right? So like there's nowhere where you're going to meet somebody and have any kind of sexualized engagement. It just doesn't happen, right? So because it doesn't happen, I've always had this idea that because it's not being fed at you all 24/7, it's just not part of your reality in the way that it is here.
Yes.
Can you
Elaborate on it.
yeah, elaborate on that? Like, you know what I mean? Like here at Penn State, it's everything.
Okay, so I personally think it's better that way. If you connect with someone, you're actually connecting on a mental and spiritual level rather than just sexual attraction. Because I think like that fades with time.
So in other words, if you're not, when you're like 17, 18, up to 22, 23, whatever, if sexuality is not like driving you, like dating and hooking up and so on, which is such a part of this culture, it's just normalized here at a place like Penn State, then that's not really what's primary to your reality. It's other things. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think here, people get exposed to dating and all like the dating scene here since like middle school or high school. But for us, it's whenever you feel like you're capable of, being with someone. So whether it's after college or later on in your life, So
So the Haliji students here, Haliji is golf students, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know that,
Yeah,
but
they're
Haliji is
golf.
golf students, right? So we're talking about Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman,
Saudi Arabia,
Saudi Arabia,
Bahrain.
Bahrain.
Kuwait,
Qatar.
Qatar. Haliji students here, there's not some really complex dating scene happening among Haliji students,
I
whereas
think it's inexistent. Like there's nothing. No.
it doesn't even exist.
No.
Does it exist underground though? Like, do you
I
have
mean,
colleagues who are dating?
Maybe
and it's just
underground.
not
I
top-
don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, you wouldn't know, right?
I wouldn't know. No.
Yeah, you would say the same thing. Yeah, no, I mean, I say
wouldn't
the
know.
same. No, all my years of working with Haliji students, there's not like some underground dating. It's like it's not even happening. I'm like, dudes, like, what do you? Okay, so let me. Anybody else want to add anything to this? Anybody else have a question? Does someone have a question they want to ask? Here.
So I was born in Africa, so I really resonate with the idea of like families, like marrying families, not like within marriage,
can't
but like
hear her.
marriage is more of like I guess like when you have a bride, you're also connecting with that family. So could you talk a little bit more about marriage itself and what that looks like between the two families and the connections that are made?
Great question. So let's talk more about the two, like when the marriage is about two families coming together. It's not.
Yeah. So and I feel here in Western cultures, marriage, the institution of marriage, is mostly based on like sexual attraction or maybe a connection. But we don't view marriage, the marriage institution itself like that. We believe that like there are many reasons for someone to get married, whether it's status, wealth, or sexual attraction, or like there are many reasons. So
Also
it's
to
not
construct
just
a family too. To construct a well-functioning family, you have to be married, because in a lot of instances in the United States, in a lot of communities, there's a lot of people that grow up, fatherless or motherless, and it really affects their life. Not saying that people who are born without a father or the mother presence in their life are like bums or anything. But
Or what it affects is when you don't have the support of an extended family.
yes.
Like I have colleagues here whose extended families live elsewhere. They move to state college. They're trying to raise kids without their parents around and aunts and uncles and grandparents. And it's just like there's no cohesive.
That's not what a family is. It feels like an office.
So for you all, the families, if you don't have support from your family to marry somebody, the whole foundation and this would be same with you,
Will collapse, basically.
would
yeah.
collapse, right?
not necessarily.
Not necessarily collapse, but it's not really strong.
Not as strong as it would
Yeah.
be.
So what's going on right now? The divorce rates are really skyrocketing throughout the Arab cultures, right? I mean, right now, and I think it's highest in Kuwait. Maybe it's Jordan. Jordan's like 62% of all current marriages are ending within like 4 years. Same in Kuwait. Like it's not as high as in Saudi or in the Emirates, but like what's going on that so many marriages are falling apart in the first 4 years, whereas that wasn't true in the past?
So the marriages all across the world are.
Yeah.
The divorce rates are going up all across the world. But for us, I think at least that's an explanation that people came up with, is that in the countries where the dating scene is present, you find divorce rates higher than normal.
So, but what explains that happening in Arab cultures, right? Because it's also going on in Saudi Arabia.
Most of the Middle East is getting westernized, so
Okay.
rise in westernization and the existence of the dating scene maybe lead to a higher divorce rate.
Well, I don't think the existence of a dating rate has like affected anything. I personally haven't been back home in 2 years. I just think that, in COVID, there has been a lot of lockdowns, and if you live with someone for like more than 2 years, I'm pretty sure you'd want to divorce them. But
Dude,
that's my only like logical explanation.
that's what my wife says about me.
Because
for
if you're
sure.
staying with the kids 24/7, and trust me, it's not like, see, one of the reasons why I stayed in the States for the past 2 years and not went back home is because the restrictions, it is for the greater good,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Like most of the people in Saudi Arabia are vaccinated now. Things are slowly getting back to normal. But in here, you can go out. Back home, you just can't. There were like curfews and everything. You
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
stay
yeah.
home, and so I think people
No,
get bored.
we're actually seeing rising
COVID cases.
separation and divorce rates really all over the world. But there's a unique thing happening in Arab culture.
I personally don't know, but
Yeah.
I'd love to look into that later.
Yeah. All right, man.
60%.
So let me. Yeah, 60%. Not in every culture. Like I say, in Jordan and Kuwait and so on. So
They're not from the GCC.
what's that?
Jordan and Jordan and a couple of countries are not from the GCC.
Yeah, yeah.
These are
Yeah,
mainly
yeah,
just
yeah.
like 6 countries.
Yeah. So listen. Okay.
Lowest.
I think that's good. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think what I hear is that there's what I'm hearing from you is that family is key. Extended family in particular is really, really
It's a
important.
major key.
Yeah, basically the whole tribe.
The whole tribe.
Yeah.
Like so, everything you do, you are representing your whole family.
That is correct.
Yes.
So then it becomes like it's like really integrity
Yeah.
is really, really important.
It is an important thing. That's why you have you have to maintain a certain look. You have to present yourself a certain way, because you don't want your family to look bad and people behind you to look bad. Because as a man and as a woman, you hold up the name of your father and whoever came before him. So you're not trying to ruin that with
Yeah. Okay, so
childish
everything
things
is
that you do.
so like here in the West, we're often looking forward about what's my life going to be, what's my career going to be, how am I going to live for me and me and me, because it's all about me and my nuclear family. Whereas for you, it's like you start this way, looking backwards and saying, okay, where am I coming from? Who am I representing? Who am I a part of? And then you move
Yeah.
forward. It's like bringing all of them with you.
Yeah, and you use the support of whoever came before you to move forward. I feel like it's better to progress that way. You see how people did before you, and you see the mistakes they committed, and try to avoid that and steer
Yeah.
clear from it. And so, in my opinion, I feel like this is really important for you to just move straight forward in life.
Well, it's one way to do it. I wouldn't say it's better or worse, but
Well,
I will
at least
say,
in my
but
opinion.
No, I got you. But I will say it works.
It works,
right?
yeah, it works.
Yeah, I would say it works. Yeah. Do you have, Marwa, anything to add to that? The way I just depicted that in the West versus.
Yeah, so like our culture is very family oriented. So everything you're not on your own. So everything you do, you have to consider the people that you left behind, and these same people are gonna support you if you're ever in debt, if you ever need help.
And so is that true? Like you're here at Penn State. Are you always thinking about your family?
I mean, in a positive way.
Yeah. But you're thinking about them and what they're. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think about them. Yeah, I miss them. but
Okay. All right.
But I mean, like as you mentioned, Penn State, like me personally, and I feel like a lot of my my brothers would agree with me. Coming to Penn State, getting good grades, doing this, staying involved, makes you proud, and then makes your family proud, and then makes your country proud. So at the end of the day, the main goal is to make your country and your family proud by participating, getting as many. See, people would think that coming from another region, you'd have to like push your own narrative. That's not true.
Yeah.
You stick to your roots, right?
Yeah.
But you come to the States and you try to learn. Like I got into American football, like just stuff. It's like the little stuff. You try to learn and adapt things from like new cultures, and then you go back home and take some of it. Some of it might be good and some of it might be bad, but at least it shows that you've evolved as a person.
So, yeah, that's actually here's a final point on that. I don't think there are any Americans. I mean, I studied. I've lived overseas and studied. I don't think I've ever thought about anything I did in another country or in another place that I thought about making my country or my family proud. Not maybe my family, but definitely not my country. Like,
Yeah, we're told like before we leave the country to study abroad that we're the ambassadors of the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
That we
Yeah.
represent the country.
yeah.
Like go
Okay.
make us proud.
All right, dude. All right. Well, awesome, man. Well, thanks. I would say then you made them proud.
صفقة صفقة شباب صفقة سمعني.
Dude, thanks, man. Hey, so that's awesome, man. If you if you really, you put your, it's just such a radically different approach. And by the way, this issue of like the, everything being, well, hang on. Can we have our, why not? Yeah, you can come back up actually. Are you all ready? Yep. Fatima, Zainab, Hind. Yep. We're going to go in a different direction here. Do you want to sit on the table, or do you want to? We're going to start on. Is that good? Is that good? Yeah, you were already on. Okay, there you are. Here, move down just a little. Yeah. Okay, so listen. So I want to talk to you. So wait, say who you are and where you're from.
Hello, my name is Fatima. I'm from Mauritania, West Africa. I'm a junior and I'm studying political science.
Uh-huh.
Hi, I'm Zainab from the K-pop Day. I'm from Saudi Arabia and I'm studying risk management.
Uh-huh. We know Marwa. Okay.
My name is Hind Ghwanim, and I'm from Saudi Arabia. I'm a petroleum engineer.
Uh-huh. You're a freshman, right?
No, I'm a junior.
Oh, junior, you just said, okay. Yep. Hey, so I want to just start out talking about dress and talking about hijabs and covering, and you're all covered. So I just want to start a conversation there. Like tell us about that. Like what happens? What is it? What are we? Hang on. I'm going to get us started on something, okay? So when my wife and I went to an Arab country for the first time, right? One of the very first things that she said, and she has long blonde hair and so on, right? One of the very first things that she said is like, I feel like I can sink into myself here. Like people aren't looking at me. People aren't paying attention. Men aren't looking at me. Men aren't paying attention to me. I'm not thinking about men looking at me or men paying attention to me. It's like there's this clear, like almost demarcation that I don't feel objectified in some way, right? And that was the first moment that for us we went, okay, hang on a second, let's look at this. This is actually sounds kind of cool. So I'd like to explore that a little bit. So Fatima, let's just start with you. You're at this end. So do you always cover when you're in public? Like talk about it if you could.
Yes, I do. I actually did not used to cover, but I started 2 years ago now. And I wear the turban sometimes, or I wear the hijab.
Mm-hmm. And when did you say you didn't used to cover, so you started 2 years ago. What prompted you to say, hey, I think I want to?
So I come from a community where a lot of people cover, and it's seen, even when you see political events, most of the women are covered. Just as sometimes it's seen as a sign of respect, sometimes just the way you carry yourself is important. And so I've never been like told to like cover or anything. And so when I felt like I was ready to cover and I studied why I wanted to do it and the origins, and when I actually felt comfortable, I said, okay, this is my time. And I actually started putting the hijab.
And when you say you study, what did you study?
I mean, I looked at the different ways in which
like thoughts about why or why not.
Exactly, and the different schools of thoughts also, because there is different schools of thoughts. And so once I felt like I was ready myself to wear the hijab, I decided to start covering.
And how do you decide when you leave the house? How do you decide whether you're going to wear a hijab or you're going to wear a turban, let's say?
Depending on how I look that day, because sometimes it's just the hijab is. I feel like it makes my face circular. I don't know. It's just something about like me in the mirror in the morning.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I feel like I want to wear the turban, I wear the turban.
Okay, cool. All right. Zainab, how about you? When did you start? How old were you?
I was 8.
You were 8?
Yeah.
That's young. Is that not young?
Yeah, actually, there are different parties in Islam, so it depends on which party do you belong to. But the one I belong to, I'm supposed to wear it by the age of 9. So my parents started gradually introducing me to it by the age of 8.
Your parents started. So for you, you were more introduced to it. Could you have said no?
No, you just, like when you're a kid, you want to like copy others. You want to copy older siblings. And you want to copy your mom. So when you see that they're wearing it too, you actually get excited and you feel like you want to wear it too. So I never felt like I should take it off until I came to the US, to be honest. Yeah.
And when you came to the US, do you ever go out without wearing it here in the US?
I did for a month or a month and a half.
And how was that?
It was scary. It was weird. It was like I was leaving a part of my identity behind, but I was also excited to rediscover myself and to understand why do I want to wear it again. Like
So-
I was giving myself an option.
So when you say you were leaving part of your, this is awesome, by the way. When you said, hey, maybe I'm leaving part of my identity behind, what are you seeing? Like what were you leaving? What were you leaving behind? Like what?
I was leaving behind who I am because I've been wearing it my whole life. I don't remember a time where I felt like I want to take it off.
Yeah, because 8's pretty young.
I'm sorry?
8 is young.
It is very young.
When you, okay, so go into being here at Penn State, going out into public, right?
Yes.
Without a hijab, for the first time. What? Can you just go into that a little more? You had nothing on. You didn't have a scarf on.
Nothing.
You had nothing. Okay, can you say more about that? What was that?
Can you specify your question so I can?
Yeah, so
answer correctly?
you leave the house or you leave your apartment or your dorm or whatever without a hijab for the first time, and you're here at Penn State.
Yeah.
Tell us more about what you were feeling in that moment.
I was going through some stuff, so to me that felt freeing. I felt like I can feel the wind on my neck and on my hair, so I felt great. But eventually I started feeling bad because I started to realize what I'm doing.
That you were going against some tradition or something.
It's not only about traditions, it's part of the religion.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
I got
I'm
you.
sinning.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to hit pause really fast before we go to the next piece. Lily, can you just do the top hat really fast? We'll just deal with it later. Don't worry about it. Can you put the top hat up? Are you ready? Is it ready? It's on? All right, Mom. So, Marwa, can you kind of walk us through a decision? Like, how would you choose which one? Why different ones? Like, how do you choose, or do you choose, or some are connected with different cultures? Can you explain it a little bit?
So I think for the most part, it's who you're surrounded with. So if you grew up surrounded with women that, for example, wear the niqab, you're most likely gonna end up wearing that niqab. Again, it's all a choice, and
The niqab is the second from the right.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's like if your mother and your aunts and your grandmother are wearing a certain thing, you're going to just follow them. But like the difference between the ashela, the hijab, the chador, how do you wear all of them or do you just wear one?
So I only wear one, like what I'm wearing right now. And basically, shela is just another Arabic word for the scarf.
Yeah,
It just means
yeah.
a scarf.
Yep.
The hijab can be used to describe also the scarf, but the literal interpretation is barrier.
Uh-huh. And so how do you feel when you have it on? Like, how do you...
I feel normal.
Yeah?
Like, yes. So, as Zainab said, since I was young, I used to always try to imitate my mother by wearing it, and sometimes I would like wear it to sleep, and then my mom would get mad at me because I can suffocate. And it's pretty similar to girls growing up wanting to put makeup. I grew up wanting to put makeup, wearing heels, and the hijab was just another thing that I used to do.
So can you connect it to this question that I hear a lot from people about modesty?
Yeah.
Can somebody say, Hind, maybe could you say something about modesty?
So basically, you should like cover your full body, and I'm not sure. Like, just you need to cover all your parts.
So the idea is not to show yourself to the world, to men, to
men.
strangers. It's mostly to men.
Yeah, to men.
Because why?
Like, I don't know. Like, it depends on your beliefs. Like, you can see like a Muslim woman, but she don't wear hijab, and that's totally fine. And while you can see another woman who wear hijab or niqab and so on. So it depends on the family and how strict they are.
So if I look at you right now, all you need is a piece of cloth over your forehead, and you would be wearing
with the
niqab.
mask, yeah.
Yeah, with the mask on. And so one of the things that for all of you, so I've had conversations with women who wear the niqab, right? Who are really feminists, like a really, really hardcore feminist, like really independent, super liberal, super strong, right? When people imagine somebody wearing the niqab, so we'll think about like Hind here with covering over your forehead, you know, that we only see your eyes. We imagine that somehow you're like like in the West we would see that as a bad thing, like somehow you're less than or you're weak or something like that. Do you want to?
Yeah, sure. So just how like the West portrays hijab as form of stereotype, or there's a lot of stigma around it in general. Our media does the same thing to Western women. So the media is always going to talk about women whether they choose to cover or choose not to. You know, they just don't have any other things to do.
So meaning your media portrays Western women as
some of it.
as oppressed?
Yeah, as in they have to show their bodies to get the approval of others.
To get the approval of men in
Yes.
particular.
Men in general, yeah.
So like so for the four of you, like you're not looking for the approval of men. You don't need to show your like if men are going to approve of you, they're not going to approve of you because of what you look like. They're going to approve of you for some other reason. Is that it? Am I on?
Yeah, I would say that's one of part of the reasons why you cover your hair. It's like you're choosing what to show to others. So
And cover your
yeah.
arms too, right?
Of course, yeah.
And your legs and
Yeah, you can. Honestly, it's different from one party to another, but yeah, I can go in details if you want to.
So, but people would say, yeah, but men don't have to cover. Like, but why aren't men? What about men?
Men actually have their own coverings in the religion of Islam. They're not supposed to show some parts.
Yes.
And they also are mandated to not look at women sexually. So that's also, if you do that, that's a sin.
Yeah, that's a problem, right? Which is like here in the West, we can't imagine that, right? I mean, you look at, the things that men and women wear. Men right now, the big thing is like, Jeff and I were talking about this the other day, like really short shorts all the time. It's like every band, it's like, dude, it's supposed to be, like half the population sometimes is gay or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like Freddie Mercury shorts. And like, so, but I would look at how Western, like how we dress here at Penn State, and it's like, whoa, it's only about the body.
Yeah, I believe everyone's like entitled to what they choose to wear, what they
Yeah.
choose to cover, but the other party should respect that. So whether a woman chooses to show up like a big percentage of her body, that does not give the men the right to stare a little too long.
So here's a thought though. When you just said that, Fatima, she just said women should have the right to choose. So women who are not covering,
Yeah.
like in the West,
Yeah.
feel like if I went around the room and I asked people, they would mostly say, no, I choose to. You know, like tomorrow night when I'm going to the party and I'm, you know, walking downtown and I have like, you know, a 0.3 ounces of clothing on, right? I'm choosing that outfit because I really like it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's my choice. Like they're going to all say that.
Yeah, and she should not be scared to wear that.
No, that's fine. But they're going to think that that's their choice. But yet that same person is likely to look at any of you and say, yeah, but you're not choosing this. Like Zainab, you started wearing it at 8. You didn't choose to cover, right? It's like, well, yeah, you were learning that at 8. But American women, let's say, were learning to show lots of skin at the age of 8. So it's the same thing, right? It's the same. Fatima, do you have a thought on that?
I mean, I feel like it's really important for the world to realize that women have the right to choose what they want to wear. Like, for example, there was a big problem in France and a lot of European countries where they were banning the hijab because they were seeing this as a form of oppression. But the real oppression is, to me personally, the real oppression is not allowing people to even wear the hijab when they choose to do it.
Yeah.
Whether or not they choose to wear the hijab is up to them, not up to what the social standard is.
Yeah. And so, once again, let me just say the following. If I drive down Beaver Avenue tonight or tomorrow night, and first off, men, dude, can you stand up real fast? This is what men are going to be wearing right here, man. This guy's going to go home. You're going to wear this to bed. You're going to wake up tomorrow night, you'll be wearing the same damn thing. It's just like, that's it. You know what I mean? All right, thanks, bro. Now you have to wear that tomorrow. I want to see a selfie with it. But if I drive down College Ave or Beaver Ave or whatever, and I look at American women, it's like, lo and behold, everyone's wearing the same thing. Like the same outfit, you know what I mean? I mean, there are a couple of variations on it, but essentially it's the same damn thing. And every single person's thinking, no, I'm choosing to wear this. Well, you can't be choosing it if everyone else is wearing the same thing. Like, it's not possible, you know what I mean? You're following. That's the nature of it. So, hey, can we do something really? So, it'd be cool if we had 4 women who wanted to volunteer to put a hijab on. Do you want to wear a hijab? Like, just try it on? Can we get 4 volunteers? So we have 1. We need 3 more. We don't want to put one on? Have you ever put one on? Dude, awesome, man. All right, and 1 more. Who wants to do it?
Right there.
Yo, come down. Whoever has your hand up. Yeah, come on down. Yeah, come on down. Yeah. All right. Here. Can you guys? Here you go. Can you just? There are some over here. You get some scarves. Hey, so here, I'll take that.
Do you you just want us to put it on? For them?
Yeah. Put them.
Do you want a certain
However you want to do it. Hey, who? Dude, yeah, we have a few. Hey, so who has a question that they want to ask? Bro, you have a question?
Here, do you guys does anyone want pink? Great.
Wait, hang on 1 second.
And then beige?
You're going to have to help them, though.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, you guys got to help. Dude, what's your question?
My question is, well, it was for them mostly.
go ahead,
but
ask me and
if
I'll-
you, like, if someone compliments you on your physical appearance, is that like a bad thing? Like, if someone says that you're because you are covering, if they say something about maybe your
Dude,
eyes or
awesome
your
question,
hair?
man. Yo, are there any Muslim women who would answer that question who's up in class? When someone how do men compliment you on your physical appearance? Can they, and if they do, like, how is that? Like, what do they say? Like, what would somebody say that's out of line? Anybody want to respond? All right, listen, man. Hind, can you answer a question? Hang on 1 second. Hind, come over here. So he has a question for you.
Yeah.
So if a guy compliments you on your physical appearance, what is out of line? Is he allowed to? Like, is he allowed to say, "Hey, you look nice today," or like, what is he allowed? What are men allowed to say to you? That's okay. Yeah, that would be okay. That wouldn't be a problem. Hold on. It's on. Yeah. Like, could he?
Yeah, like your eyes are beautiful or something like that.
That would be okay.
It's not, but.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, I got that compliment a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So meaning that the idea is like you just don't. There's a.
I think
Go ahead.
from the start, when he start like to talk to that woman, then he like crossed the line. So yeah. So most likely, I just ignore them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if? Talk in the mic.
Oh, sorry. I was asking, what if I like knew you really well, like we were good friends? Still not okay?
Well, I'm not sure about that because I don't know. I didn't have that situation before, but
Yo, this is so fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Like in the West. Wait, what's your background? What's your background? What's that?
I'm Mexican.
Mexican? Listen, what he's asking right here, yo, listen to this. This is actually really cool. So what she's saying is for him to even say to her, like, hey, you have really nice eyes, like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Does that seem just like, whoa?
Yeah, I guess because most women are like comfortable with receiving compliments or like it being like the norm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's a little like, I mean, if I received a compliment, I'd be okay. It's not like weird, but I could understand that like they're not like the physical compliments aren't supposed to be like.
So check this out, right? Can stand back here. So it's almost like there's this field of energy around you, right? It's cool, right? It's really cool. There's a field of energy around you that isn't around you. You know what I mean? That's like you just don't go. Like you just wouldn't go there, bro. You just wouldn't even be like, "Hey, Hind, you have really nice eyes," or "You look beautiful today," or whatever. You just wouldn't. You don't even go there. It's just her, right? And in the West, we're so used to the physical, right? Like physical bodies, everything. I only see your physical being, and it's almost like what you're talking about is like people just looking through you. It's like it doesn't matter. It's like I'm just looking at your energy, dude. That's awesome. All right, hang on. We ready? Yeah. Dude, how is that? Can you see what you look like, by the way?
So we were talking about it. Like I said, I'm from West Africa too, and a lot of West African women, more culturally, we wear head coverings not in the sense of like modesty or for religious reasons. So I've worn things like that, but not really a hijab. So it doesn't feel that different from wearing things like that. Yeah.
All right. How about Yo. How, so for you, how about for you? Like, how can you see what you look like? Hang on.
No, I haven't seen what I look like.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm gonna show you. There you are, right there. It's almost like having a hoodie on.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
How do you feel though? How is it?
I can't really feel anything other than under my chin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels
It's like your hair's-
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really light.
yeah.
How about
Seems
you?
soft.
Dude, that's what you look like right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like really comfortable and like, especially in the winter, like this would be just so nice, like, cause it's so cold out and it's like my head's warm and I could just like fall asleep like this, honestly.
Yeah. Can you imagine though? Like take yourself to going out this weekend? Did you hear the conversation we were having with Hind? No. Which is like, yo, hang on. The idea is that what we were saying, so what's your name, bro? Parker? Parker was saying, how would I give somebody a compliment? And Hind was saying kind of, well, like you wouldn't. Like he said, could I say you have nice eyes? And he's saying like, she's saying, no, you just wouldn't do that. And it's almost like there's a force field around you whereby it's like, first off, in the Middle East, you're not going to walk down the street and a carload of dudes is not going to go by and say something at you. Like that is never effing going to happen, ever, right? So you're not going to be in this district with lots of activity and young people and someone's going to make a comment about your body. Never going to happen. It's almost like there's this energy around you. So my question to you all is, like, how would that be knowing that you could walk downtown, so the Americans, like, come up to the front here for a second, right? That you could walk downtown and like you could not be thinking about some people yelling out the window at whatever. How is that?
That would be really, really nice. I
Yeah.
personally hate being catcalled. I mean, I think all women do, but I really hate that attention. And it almost sounds like I almost don't believe you when you say that like the Middle East is like that, because I don't think that it's almost even possible. But it sounds really nice.
Have you ever been catcalled back home? No. Back home? Yeah. Have you? Back home? Yeah, like where? What constituent? Well, hang on. So how about? We'll come back. So how about the two of you? Like how?
So I mean, I know, like from my experience, at least, like anywhere, whether it's at my hometown or whether it's like walking up here, I always feel a little uncomfortable because I've always noticed like somebody just kind of staring at me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm very kind of hunched over, kind of like, don't look at me, don't notice me, please don't notice me. But like wearing this, I kind of feel more like, okay, I feel more protected, I guess, in a way.
Like more in your own space?
Yeah.
Do you feel that? Do you feel more in your own space?
I mean, yeah, I kind of just like, it feels like natural. Like it doesn't feel like there's almost anything on me. Like I can kind of feel it.
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm not used to wearing it. Like I can definitely see where this is just like a normal thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it just feels natural.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I know, it seems really, I know it would seem that way to me for sure. Yeah. Huh. Awesome, man. Do you have any questions? Any of you have any questions about it? What's that? Yeah. Can we get a shot? Can we get a shot of everybody? Wait, can you come up? Dude, awesome, man. Yeah.
Smile with your eyes. It's my
Dude, rocking and rolling. Hey, so listen, if somebody wrote, yeah, come here a sec. Mr. Saudi. So if someone wanted to be part of Saudi National Day celebration, could they go?
Oh yeah, I think everybody's welcome to join us in the National Day festivities.
When is it?
It's actually going to be on Saturday.
You gonna have food?
Yeah, definitely. Catering. You already know. It's
Yeah.
government funded, so.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Everybody's welcome to come. It's going to be actually after the Villanova game, so people could have time to come and celebrate.
no alcohol.
No alcohol. There's a lot of coffee, though.
Don't come drunk.
No.
Lots of coffee.
Well, they can do whatever they want. It's just, like, there won't be any bottle services at the fucking place, you know what I mean? But
And how would they go? What do they got to do?
We're gonna be in downtown, like just with a bunch of cars. You're gonna hear like very loud music and everybody with their flags. It's gonna be really fun. Yeah.
Look for the Saudi flags.
Look for the Saudi flags. Yeah.
All right, man. All right, cool. All right, thanks. Hey, Lily, are we ready? All right. Thanks to everybody. Thank you, man. Yeah.